A club wins a trophy. The city floods into the streets. The players lift the cup. The owner cries on television. 18 months later, that same club is selling its best players just to pay the wage bill. Not because something went wrong, because something went right. This happens over and over in football. A team overachieves, everybody celebrates, and the celebration is the beginning of the collapse. It sounds insane. Winning is the goal. Winning brings prize money, sponsors, television cameras, more revenue than the club has ever seen. So how does more money leave a club poorer than before? Because the moment you win, a set of bills switch on that nobody in the stands ever sees. And almost none of them are optional. Start with what winning actually pays. Qualify for a big European competition and the money is enormous. Participation fees, prize money per match, a share of broadcast revenue. Win a domestic league and the payout climbs again. For a mid-sized club, that can be the biggest windfall in its history. Suddenly, the accounts look magnificent. And that's exactly the trap. Because that money arrives once. It is not a salary. It is not guaranteed. It lands in one season and it can vanish entirely the next. But the decisions a club makes with that money, those last for years. So the club is handed a one-off check and immediately signs contracts that assume the check keeps coming. Which raises an uncomfortable question. What happens the year they don't win? Because here's the strange part. Even if the club spends nothing, signs nobody, changes nothing, keeps the exact same squad that just won, its costs still rise. Automatically. Whether it wants them to or not. Winning doesn't just tempt a club into spending more, it forces it to. There's a set of costs that trigger the moment a trophy is lifted, buried in contracts that were signed years earlier. And once you see them, you'll understand why so many champions end up in trouble. The first one is bonuses. Almost every player contract in modern football contains performance clauses. Win the league, qualify for Europe, reach a final, and payments trigger. Automatically. For the whole squad plus the coaching staff. A successful season can add an enormous, unplanned lump to the wage bill. The better you do, the more you owe. The second is the ratchet. Many contracts contain clauses that improve terms if the club reaches a certain level. A pay rise written in advance activated by success. And the third is the renegotiation. The players who just won you a trophy know exactly what they're worth now. They want new contracts on far bigger money, and they have every card in the hand. If you refuse, they leave and you get nothing. So before the club has bought a single new player, its wage bill has already climbed sharply, purely as a punishment for succeeding. And that's before anyone else gets involved. Now the outside world reacts. Your best players just played on the biggest stage in the sport. Every rich club on the continent watched them do it. So the offers arrive. Not for your worst players, for your best ones. The ones who made the winning possible. The club now faces a choice with no good answer. Sell, and the team gets worse. Refuse, and you keep a squad on inflated wages who feel they've outgrown you, until their contracts run down and they leave for far less, or for nothing at all. Meanwhile, the price of everything you want to buy has gone up. Selling clubs know you've just banked a windfall. The moment your name is attached to a transfer, the fee rises. Winning makes you rich, and being rich makes you expensive. You're now paying more for players and being paid less for your own. Then there's the part that has nothing to do with contracts at all. Expectation. Before the trophy, staying up was a triumph. After it, anything less than repeating the miracle is treated as failure. The fans expect signings. The board expects Europe again. The manager knows a bad autumn will end his career, so the club spends, not because the finances allow it, but because standing still now feels like going backwards. It signs players on wages calibrated to a level it reached exactly once. And it does all this while the money that funded it was, remember, a one-off. That's the machine. Costs that rise permanently, funded by revenue that arrive temporarily. Now run the following season. The squad is more expensive. The competition has strengthened against you. The magic that made everything click last year. The injury-free run. The shots that went in. The opponents who underestimated you. Doesn't repeat. You finish mid-table. Perfectly respectable. Utterly catastrophic. Because the European money is gone, and the wage bill it triggered is not. The contracts are signed for 4 more years. The bonuses have already been paid. The expensive signings are still on the books, being written down across their deals. Income falls off a cliff. Costs stay on the mountain. And now, the spending rules arrive. Lose too much and you face points deductions or transfer restrictions. So the club is forced to sell its best remaining players at exactly the moment it can least afford to look weak. The trophy is still in the cabinet. Everything that won it is being sold. So here's the twist. The clubs that get destroyed by winning are not the ones that got unlucky. They're the ones that believed it. Because a single great season is data with one data point. It might be the start of something. It might be the peak of everything. Nobody knows which, including the people running the club. The ones who survive treat the windfall as what it actually is. A temporary payment. To be spent on things that can be undone. Short contracts. Squad depth. The stadium. The debt. The ones who collapse treat it as proof. Proof they belong at that level permanently. So they sign 5-year deals against 1-year money. Winning doesn't bankrupt a football club. Believing the winning will continue does. That's why the most dangerous moment in a club's life isn't relegation, or a bad run, or an owner walking away. It's the parade. So the next time a smaller club overachieves, wins a cup, qualifies for Europe, punches miles above its weight, enjoy it. It's the best thing in football. But watch what they do next. Watch the length of the contracts. Watch whether the wage bill rises to match 1 great season or 10 average ones. Watch whether anyone in that boardroom is planning for the year the money doesn't come. Because in football, the trophy is free. Everything that happens afterwards is not. That's what this channel is about. The money hiding behind the game everyone thinks they already understand. If this changed how you see a title race, subscribe. Because next time, we'll pull another thread the game would rather you never touched. Where football meets finance. This is Ink Offside.